The last days of St. Paul and St. Peter are both significant in early Christian history, especially regarding their martyrdom in Rome under the reign of Emperor Nero around AD 64 to 68. St. Paul final days. Paul was arrested in Jerusalem, appealed to Caesar, and was sent to Rome. He spent his final years under house arrest in Rome but continued preaching and writing letters, epistles. During Nero's persecution of Christians following the Great Fire of Rome in AD 64, Paul was executed. Death and burial. As a Roman citizen, Paul was granted a more humane execution. He was beheaded, not crucified. Tradition holds he was martyred on the Via Ostiensis, outside Rome. His remains were believed to have been buried where the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls now stands. In 2006, Vatican archaeologists found a sarcophagus believed to contain his remains. St. Peter final days. Peter, the leader of the apostles, went to Rome and led the Christian community there. During Nero's persecution, he was arrested and sentenced to death. According to tradition, Peter requested to be crucified upside down, feeling unworthy to die as Jesus did. Death and burial. He was crucified in the Circus of Nero, near Vatican Hill. His body was believed to be buried nearby, where St. Peter's Basilica now stands. Excavations under the basilica in the mid-20th century revealed a tomb and bones which the Vatican has identified as possibly Peter's. The remains, or reputed remains, of St. Peter and St. Paul were not so much found by a single pope in the modern sense, but rather their traditional burial sites were venerated from early Christianity, and later popes helped authenticate or rediscover them through excavations. St. Peter, Pope Pius XII, 1939–1958, is credited with initiating the official archaeological excavations under St. Peter's Basilica in 1940. In 1950, he announced the discovery of a 1st-century tomb under the basilica, believed to be Peter's. In 1968, under Pope Paul VI, bone fragments found in a niche marked, "Peter is here," were declared with confidence to be the remains of St. Peter. St. Paul in 2002–2006, under Pope Benedict XVI, the Vatican conducted excavations at the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. In 2009, Pope Benedict XVI announced that carbon dating of a sarcophagus under the altar, which had been long venerated as Paul's tomb, dated it to the 1st or 2nd century and likely belonged to the Apostle Paul. The identification of the remains of St. Peter and St. Paul was based on a combination of early Christian tradition, archaeological evidence, inscriptions, and historical continuity of veneration, rather than direct forensic proof. Here's how they reached those conclusions. St. Peter. Number 1. Early Christian tradition. Christians in Rome believed Peter was martyred and buried on Vatican Hill. By the 2nd century, a shrine, called the Trophy of Gaius, was built over his presumed grave. Emperor Constantine built the original St. Peter's Basilica in the 4th century directly over this site. Number 2. Excavation findings in 1940–49, excavations under St. Peter's Basilica revealed a 1st-century Roman necropolis, burial ground. A simple grave and a monument built around it, the Trophy of Gaius. An inscription nearby that read, "Peter is here, Petros Eni" in Greek. Number 3. Bones discovered in a niche behind the monument, known as the graffiti wall. Bones were discovered and kept in the Vatican. In 1968, Pope Paul VI announced that those bones were of a man, aged 60 to 70, robust build, and wrapped in purple cloth with gold threads, suggesting high veneration. Though DNA cannot confirm identity, tradition plus site plus inscription plus age match supported the conclusion. For St. Paul I, ancient tradition. Paul was believed to be buried on the Via Ostiensis, where Emperor Constantine later built a church. That site became the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. 2. Archaeological confirmation. Excavations in the early 2000s found a sarcophagus beneath the main altar. In 2009, Pope Benedict XVI confirmed that carbon dating of organic material, bone fragments, cloth, incense, dated to the 1st or 2nd century. This matched Paul's time and confirmed ancient tradition. Thank you for listening. It is good to know these historical religious beliefs so as to defend your faith as a Catholic.